Berlin Syndrome is the twisty thriller from director Kate Shortland that has helped prove that 2017 truly is the year of the woman. This film follows the wonderful Teresa Palmer as Claire, an Australian photojournalist who heads to Europe to backpack and see the world and ends up in Berlin, where she meets Andy, played by Max Reinfeldt, the handsome and charismatic stranger that woos her into a passionate one-night stand. And what starts out as a steamy affair ends up turning into a sinister situation when Claire finds that Andy has locked her in his apartment and he doesn't plan on ever letting her leave. It's a really interesting movie that I think handles sexual assault and sexual abuse and the way people are treated in a really honest way. Because you know what? We hear the horror stories. This stuff does happen. But what's really quite interesting about it is, as good as Teresa Palmer is as the character, and as much as we'd like to see all her and her stuff, we don't follow so much of her character. There's very little characterization for Claire. We don't really need to know much about her because she's already a good character. She is a victim that is being taken advantage of, and you want to see her get out no matter what. But what's interesting is that the story, as the film progresses, focuses more on Andy. We humanize the monster, which I think was really interesting and such a smart choice from a storytelling perspective. We see his life outside of the apartment, as opposed to just being locked with Claire in this confined space. We see him going about his life, doing what he's doing before he comes back to her. That ends up being a much more interesting film. The way things play out are incredibly interesting. Now, I'll say it's listed as a horror film, and I would say this is a very horrifying film, but it doesn't have your jump scares, your thrilling sequences. There are a couple interesting moments here and there, but it's mostly just tension and atmosphere. You're not really finding yourself scared. Thankfully, there isn't a whole, this is just a bunch of rape. You know, he isn't raping her throughout the whole film. You don't see that, there's none of that. You do see him taking a lot of pictures of her. There's a lot of sexy picture taking going on, so that's kind of creepy and weird, but it doesn't get full on, graphically disturbing. So if anyone's worried about that, you don't have that in this movie. Berlin Syndrome is streaming on Netflix. It's a very good original film that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. It has good characters, solid storytelling, and it felt very fresh. It just felt very good. Again, I really like the way the story handled things. You don't come to like Andy, the villain, but you do get to have a bit of an understanding of him. It just makes for a more compelling film, and I truly enjoyed it. Berlin Syndrome gets a 3.5 out of 5 from me. I highly suggest you queue it up and watch it when you're looking for something to stream. It is a little long. It's a bit of a stretched out 2-hour movie, but we really focus on the plight of the character of Claire and her drawn-out experience, and I didn't really find it to really drag or be boring at all. It's a solid, good 2-hour film, so I say dedicate the time to watching it. I have a feeling you will enjoy it. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.